Okay. Oh boy. Whoa. Holy shit. That was like a supernova.
Gordon Freeman in the flesh.
G-Man.
Or rather, in the hazard suit. I took the liberty of relieving you of your weapons. Most of them were government property. As for the suit, I think you've earned it.
Oh yeah, I definitely earned it.
The border world, Zen, is in our control. For the time being, thanks to you. Quite a nasty piece of work you managed over there. I am impressed.
Thank you.
That's why I'm here, Mr. Freeman. I have recommended your services to my employers. And they have authorized me to offer you a job. They agree with me that you have limitless potential.
This is kind of trippy.
You've proved yourself a decisive man, so I don't expect you'll have any trouble deciding what to do. If you're interested, just step into the portal and I will take that as a yes. Otherwise, well, I can offer you a battle you have no chance of winning. Rather an anticlimax after what you've just survived. Time to choose.
Well, just like last time, I don't really have much of a choice, so I gotta take it.
Wisely done, Mr. Freeman. I will see you up ahead.
Mm-hmm. Alright. Woo! Holy shit. Wow. Crowbar Collective, you've made one hell of a game. Even though this game started off as a mod, it evolved into, you know, a pretty damn good reimagining of the original Half-Life. Now, of course, the version I played, I mean, yeah, in terms of content, it is complete. You know, all the chapters are here, but you know, it's not exactly complete. You know, there's still some rough edges that they still need to, you know, go through. You know, Crowbar Collective definitely do need to polish this game, because while, you know, there are still some rough edges. I mean, you know, throughout my playthrough, there were definitely some rough edges, especially like at Gonarch's lair, when I died and tried to reload my checkpoint or my last quick save, it just wouldn't load, so I had to go back to my last manual save. So yeah, I'll definitely give this game some slack, because it's still not complete. It's still not a finished product. I mean, yeah, all the content is here, but it's still not 100% finished. Like I have seen a interview where they mention how they're going to make a definitive edition, pretty much the complete package. And yeah, and wow. So yeah, this was Black Mesa. Again, this was, you know, a reimagining of the original Half-Life, and I enjoyed the original Half-Life, and well, I enjoyed this. Yes, I do have my complaints, my frustrations, my nitpicks. Like, specifically, the military. Yeah, I did not like the military. You know, I never liked fighting the military in the original game. And in this version, I kind of despise them, because the fact that they're a lot more mobile, they can shoot, and yeah, they can shoot and move at the same time. Like in the original game, I'm pretty sure that the only way they can shoot at you is when they're crouching. And yeah, I've never been a big fan of fighting human enemies. Like human enemies. I mean, sure, some people could say fighting a human enemy is something more familiar. Yeah, you could say fighting human enemies is familiar, but I prefer to fight enemies that are, more unique and have a little bit more strategy than, cheap weapons like what the military have. They have they have the MP5s, shotguns, I guess rocket launchers maybe, and I guess sniper rifles. But basically hit scan weapons, and I mean, if they're not hit scan weapons, at least their projectiles are pretty fast and kind of hard to avoid. So, yeah, that's why I mostly resort to like long range weapons like the Magnum or crossbow, and then I eventually start using the hive gun to, try to avoid the military as best as possible. Now the Zen creatures, the head crabs, the hound eyes, the bull squids, the vortigaunts, the grunts, the controllers, and of course the final boss, the Nihilanth. They all serve their purpose. Head crabs are a little annoying. Hound eyes, they're easy to take care of. Bull squids, they like to spit at you from a distance. Vortigaunts, they're pretty nimble, but they're kind of retarded. Their AI is kind of retarded, and I guess that's all for the creds. The Vortigaunts, their AIs are kind of low. They're kind of low retarded. Like sometimes they will like stand still when I like throw a grenade at them, and they'll be like, "Oh, well, shit. I guess this is how I die. Just standing here and get blown to bits." The grunts, they're kind of they do melt you if you're not careful, but they're relatively easy to handle. The final boss, he was definitely, I guess you could say, a little bit more easier. Mostly because he didn't do that whole teleport. Excuse me. Yeah, he didn't do that whole teleport ability where he teleports you to 3 different rooms and you gotta, get back into the main room. And the guns, all the guns from the original game make a return. Now, obviously, the guns they use in this game, they use the normal version of the original Half-Life game. The original Half-Life game that I played, I had the HD pack, which means certain weapons had different looks and different models. For example, the pistol was a Beretta, not a Glock, or the automatic weapon is a M4 or M16, basically an assault rifle, not an MP5 SMG. But in Black Mesa, they obviously used the original models. You got the Glock, the MP5. I think the Spaz, though, the Spaz does kind of look modified. I'm pretty sure it's the Spaz 12, but just modified. We got the crossbow, the gluon gun, the Tau cannon, the RPG, the hive gun, the hive hand, and of course you got your explosives, hand grenades, satchel charges, trip mines, and snarks. And all the weapons serve a purpose. Pistols and rifles are mostly good at suppression or firing them at a distance. Shotgun's good at close range, and hive gun is good at if you want to stay behind cover and shoot bees, and hopefully those bees will hit their target. And so what else to say? Graphically, the game, it looked good, especially Zen. It looks fucking beautiful. I mean, especially like the early parts where you see this vast space that is very purple, and you see all these stars and all these floating rocks, and of course the wildlife. You have all these plants, all these organic environments. There's lots of rain. There's all these animals flying around. Zen was pretty beautiful. Now of course, the Black Mesa facility, the basically Earth, it looked good. There's nothing really special about Black Mesa, the Black Mesa facility. I mean, it's a pretty familiar area. It's just a human human place that we may have seen before in maybe movies or pictures or even books. But still, and of course this game was using the Source engine, basically the same engine that Half-Life 2 made. And I think I remember one developer said in an interview how they literally took assets from Half-Life 2, specifically what was that one creature, the alien shark thing, the ichthyosaur. Yeah, they say that they brought the ichthyosaur from Half-Life 2, and of course there were some other stuff from Half-Life 2 that they ported, like specifically that taco that I mentioned back in Zen. How I think that taco was from Gmod, and now I'm starting to think about Sonic Zombie, and yeah. Now the music, now the music in Zen, it's beautiful, but the music in, when you're in the facility, Black Mesa facility, it's good music, but it's not placed well. Like, for example, at surface tension, where I'm trying to sneak around, try not to detonate a single explosion, or else we'll all die. We got this epic music, and I'm like, okay, this is kind of out of place. I'm just sneaking around. There shouldn't be any music at all, or if there is going to be music, it should be toned down. Like I mentioned, how maybe if they had something like Sneaky Snitch or something like that. So yeah, the music is good, but it could be handled a little differently, like put the music at appropriate spots. Now, as a remake, as a reimagining, not a remaster. I did mess it up. This isn't a remaster. This is a reimagining, a remake, or I guess specifically a remake. They take something that they love and they bring it to the modern age. They bring in some modern elements, and since this is from the Half-Life 2 engine, they brought in some Half-Life 2 mechanics like physics and picking up stuff, and it did kind of felt more like Half-Life 2 than Half-Life 1, but of course that's kind of hard to say since I've only done the first 3 chapters of Half-Life 2, which I will continue shortly, now that I've gone through Half-Life and its 2 expansions, and of course the reimagining Black Mesa. Now the Half-Life 2 playthrough will resume. I'll definitely continue Half-Life 2 soon enough, very soon. So yeah. Now there were some parts that I think they may have cut out, specifically again in surface tension, or was it in in surface tension, near the landmine field, there was supposed to be a tentacle, but I didn't encounter a tentacle in this one. And then on a rail, near the control room where you launch the satellite, there was supposed to be some explosives that detonate when you cross lasers, but I didn't encounter that either. And towards the end of Forget About Freeman, there is a tank that you use the main gun of the tank to blast your way through a door so you get to the Lambda complex. But I mean, there was a tank at the end of Forget About Freeman, but of course you don't use it. In fact, it gets destroyed. So yeah, obviously there are some parts that are not there from the original. They definitely did remove or change some stuff. And I mean, it's not a big deal. I mean, the stuff that I explained, some of the things that I mentioned are just, not exactly all that important. Just small little details that they've removed. So yeah, it's not a big deal. I mean, if they did remove like major big parts, like specifically Blast Pit, where you destroy the 3 tentacles with the rocket. I mean, if they remove that, then yeah, a lot of people will be pissed off, because that was the main objective of Blast Pit. Well, the 3 tentacles where you need to sneak them around and then use the rocket. So yeah, and anything else I want to talk about? I mean, I know I've been kind of rambling for a good, I don't know how long, maybe 5 to 10 minutes, I don't know. But yeah, Black Mesa, this was a good reimagining. again, I had my frustrations and my complaints, but I still enjoyed this game. You know, this is a solid experience, and thanks to previous knowledge of the original game, you know, some parts were a little bit more easier, though some parts, you know, they definitely did change, and it got a little difficult. I mean, specifically Zen, you know, they definitely changed that up. And yeah, the new Zen was completely new to me. Sure, there were some sections that were familiar, like the Gonarch, the mother head crab, which that part, I think that part dragged on a bit too long. Maybe if they would have cut that part in half, it would have been fine. But yeah, I think the whole Gonarch fight, you know, went on a bit too long. So yeah, and I guess that's all I really gotta say. Yeah, I guess that's all I gotta say. So yeah, everyone, thank you for watching my playthrough of Black Mesa, and of course, if you haven't watched my original Half-Life playthrough, both the main game and the 2 expansions, Opposing Force and Blue Shift. And I have heard that Crowbar Collective have no plans on remaking Opposing Force and Blue Shift. I mean, kind of a shame, but if they do, you know, if they do change their mind and work on Opposing Force and Blue Shift, I mean, I imagine it would take them a good maybe 5-10 years. And oh yeah, I forgot to mention Black Mesa. You know, this game has been in development for at least 15 years, and that's impressive. You know, that's some true dedication. Like they said themselves, if some small developer was making, you know, such a big game like this, they would have, you know, quit pretty early on. But no, Crowbar Collective, they stick with it and brought us an amazing game. Even though it's not fully complete, they're still planning on releasing the full version, the definitive edition. Yeah. What else? Yeah, I guess I did lost track. But yeah, if Crowbar Collective, if you do change your mind and make Opposing Force and Blue Shift, you know, take all the time you need. I mean, I imagine it won't take too long. I will say at least 3 years. I mean, you kind of got. I mean, the base game you can pretty much. I mean, the base game is pretty much good. It's pretty much finished. So I imagine development on Opposing Force and Blue Shift won't take too long. I'm gonna say at least 3 to 5 years, maybe 6. I don't know. But again, if they do eventually do Opposing Force and Blue Shift, I'll definitely check that out. But for right now, I'll end this. I'll Man, I'm just going all over the place right now. I mean, right now it's kind of warm in here. I am sweating. But yeah, so yeah, everyone, thank you for watching, and stay tuned when I continue my Half-Life 2 playthrough that I did back in 2018. The first 3 chapters. Half-Life 2 will resume, you know, soon. So yeah, everyone, this is me, Mediocre Racer 72. I'll stop rambling. Thank you for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Later.